Hello guys, I hope you are all doing great. And today the part of the lecture on Microsoft SQL Server, and my name is Lokesh and I'm working as a software engineer, and my technology stack is SQL, Power BI and data science as well. Okay, let's get started into today's session. In my last video I covered some SQL database fundamentals, means how to create a database and how to create table and some table operations on it. In today's session we will see what is schema and operations on it. As the second part of the video, what is schema and operations on it, and how to create a schema and how to transfer schema and how to drop a schema. And along with that, what is identity property in SQL and some operations on it. Okay, let's get started. So currently if you start your SQL server, then it should be points to the master database. Okay, so let's change that one to our own database. For me it is MySQL DB, and Control E for execution, Control R. See, it got changed from master to MySQL DB. In case of yours, it is your current DB. Okay, no problem. Do that one. So first of all, what is schema? Before going to talk about schema, how to create schema, how to transfer schema and dropping it, first of all, what is schema? I'll show you this one before going for the definition. If you click on this, your database, and go to tables, you have dbo.employee.dummy-data. This is the table which I have created in my previous session. So for every table here we have DBO, DBO and DBO. What is the DBO? DBO is a database object which is the default schema. You can see the same thing in security as well. If you go to security, in that you will find user, roles and schemas. Click on schema, expand it, and you will see DBO, DBO guest and information schema and sys schema. Okay, so coming to the definition, what is schema? Schema is a SQL database, is a collection of logical structure of data. What does it mean? The schema is owned by the data user and has same name and as a database user. So basically, if you create any kind of table, any kind of view, any kind of database object which is directly pointing to DBO, which is the default schema name. If you want to check that, you can just type select is a keyword, select schema name as a function. If you execute this one, it will show you DBO, database object, which is the default schema name. Apart from that, you have to create your own own schema. Okay, I'll just show you all those things in a second. Coming to schemas, fine. Coming to tables, just refresh your tables and schemas, because if you create any work in your previous days, then it still stores in it, unless otherwise if you refresh your tables. Okay, here we go. How to create a schema name. So before going to create a schema name, obviously you have a default schema name DBO, but make sure you need to check first your database, in which database you want to create your schema. For me, I want to create schema in MySQL DB. Okay, so use MySQL DB. Go is just a batch process operator, no need to worry about that, and create schema HR. HR is my schema name. Okay, authorization to DBO. DBO is the basic database object which is default one. Okay, so create your schema. Your schema name is HR in case of mine, but in case of yours you can create your own, you can set up your own name. Control E, Control R. Okay, let's see whether my schema is created or not. You know, where do you check your schemas and all? Just go for refresh your database and go to security and go to schemas and see you have HR. HR is a schema name. Okay, fine, close it. So coming to here, just create a table and let's see what will happen. Okay, I create a table, create table, hotels is a table name, and I have serial number and hotel name. Control E, Control R, and insert one record into it. Just one record, just single record. And I hope you follow my previous video and you know how to insert the records into a particular table. Control E, Control R. Now let's see. Okay, first of all, just select the particular table. Okay, you know how to retrieve the data from a table. It is select star from hotels. Star represents, what is star represents? Star represents the entire columns, total columns in that particular table. Control E, Control R. Okay, have you find any difference between them? What if I say dbo dot hotels? Control E, Control R. So it executes. So which means if you create any table without schema, here I am not mentioning any kind of schema. So if I didn't mention any kind of schema, apart from that, if I mention directly a table name, obviously it will points to the basic schema, which is basic default schema, which is DBO. That is the reason why if you execute this query, select star from dbo.hotels, it executes. But let's execute the same thing with hr.hotels. Let's see what kind of result it will give you. See, invalid object name hr.hotels. Obviously, because you didn't create your table with the schema. Okay, with the schema specified. If you want to check out that one, you can go to tables into your database, just refresh it and click on the open up, expand the tables and see dbo.hotels. It is still sitting in a dbo. Okay, now I want to change my hotels object from dbo to hr. Okay, because that is the way I want it. Okay, see how to transfer a schema to an object. How to transfer means, here is the command, alter schema. Which schema you want to alter? HR is the schema, my new schema. I want to alter it and I want to transfer dbo.hotels into my HR schema. So here is the command, alter schema HR, transfer from where? dbo.hotels. Execute this command. Control E. Okay, successfully completed. Control R. Now let's check it. Select start from dbo.hotels. Okay, let's check it. Oh, it's invalid object name dbo.hotels. Hope you got the reason why, because we changed the schema from dbo to hr. If you want to execute, then you have to type select star from hr.hotels. Let's see. Control E. Here we go. Control R. It executes. So this is how you can create your schema, your own schema, and you need to create your tables with a schema and stored in your particular schema. Otherwise, if you didn't create your table with your schema name, obviously it will point to the default database object schema, which is dbo, and in order to transfer it, here is the command. Okay, then fine. How to drop a schema now? You create a schema and you transfer schema from a default DBO to your new schema, but now all of a sudden you want to drop the schema. Okay, then this is the command, drop schema name. Okay, let's see what will happen. Drop schema name, Control E. Oops, it is throwing an error. What is the error? Just read the error. Cannot drop schema HR because it is being referred by an object hotels. What does it mean? Because you created the schema, the hotels is a table under this HR schema. So if you want to drop a schema, first of all you have to drop the objects which are under this schema. So here is the sentence. So first drop an object which is associated with HR schema, then drop the schema. Okay, so first of all you need to drop the table in order to drop the particular schema. Okay, so drop table name. Of course, I hope you know this command from my previous lecture, and if you missed my previous lecture, just go back and check out my video. Drop table name, execute this command, Control R, and see, now it will execute. It will not throw you in any error. Drop schema name is HR. Okay, Control E, Control R. Okay, so now I got successfully dropped my HR object and HR as a schema as well. Okay, now let me check with whether my hotels or my schema is still exist or not. Okay, obviously it will not. You can check it from your GUI as well, from tables. Have you seen any kind of table here? Have you seen hotels? No, it was removed already. So go to security, just refresh it and check for schema and check for HR. Have you found any HR here as a database object, as a schema? No, we don't have any schema with the name HR. Fine. So if you have any doubts still, just go for this command, executing, Control E. See, invalid object name dbo.hotels. Okay, let's check out whether it is there in hr.hotels. Obviously it is not. Just go for check. Control E, same error, invalid object name hr.hotels. That's it. So hope you understand what is the importance of schema in database objects. Basically, the schema is the one which is a collection of logical structure of data, which means if you want to maintain two table names as the same name, just go by separating it with the schema. Suppose if I want to create another table with hotels, the same table name, then it should be possible with a different schema. Okay, so here is the catch. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to create in a table, suppose hotels is my table, HOTLS, hotels. Suppose if I want to create another table with the same name, hotels, it's not possible because it will throw an error, because within a same database you cannot create two tables with the same name. But it is possible with different schema names. Suppose if I go for hr.hotels, and another table name also hotels, but which is differ by this time maybe another department, it's a IT department. Okay, let's say IT dot hotels. This is possible, this is possible, but this one is not possible. So that is the reason why before starting with your database table creations and all, it is always advisable to go for schemas, because schemas are the one which are logically separate your tables, so which are used to aggregate your tables and managing the tables completely based on your security aspects. So hope you understand regarding this schema creation and all. Now let's go to the other important concept in SQL, which is identity property. So first of all, what is an identity property in SQL? What is an identity property? Identity refers seed and increment. Identity is a function. So in this function, it allows two arguments, which are one is seed and another one is increment. What it will do generally is if you put identity in any particular column, then it will automatically generate a number sequence. Means, let's go for this one. Okay. So how it will work, I'll show you with an example. Suppose I want to create a table called person. Okay, so create a table. So in this create table, if you carefully observe here, the person ID integer, here I mention identity 1 comma 1. What does it mean? Identity 1 comma 1 means identity is a property having a seed is 1 with an increment of 1. Means my person underscore ID as a column start with number 1, increment by 1. So here is the one. So the first name is not null, last name is not null, and gender is also not null. Not null is a constraint, and we will see in later examples what is a not null constraints will do. So basically it will not accept the null values into it. So that is the reason why if we want to represent a column without having any not null, then it will be a problem. So you have to mention any column name which is not null while creating a table. Okay, let's go for this table creation. Control E. Okay, table command completed successfully. Control R, and just check for the table. Select star from table name person. Obviously you can mention dbo dot person as a schema name, or even though if you didn't check with the schema name, obviously it will pick up because the dbo is the basic default. Okay, no need to worry about that. Control E. So person ID, first name, last name, and gender. Okay. Now let's insert some records into it. If you carefully observe here, I am not inserting the person ID. Here I am not inserting the person ID. If you see, select John is the first name, Miller is the last name, and his gender is M, and union all with the same second record. Okay, so this insert with the select, insert into with the select statement is a different kind of insertion method. If you didn't know it, just check out my previous video. So just insert it, insert these three records completely. Okay, so this insert into person's values is one method, and this is another method. I'll just show you with the difference. Okay, so Control E. Okay, 3 records inserted. Fine, let's check out. Oops, Control E. See, I didn't give you any person ID. Have I mentioned any person ID? No, I just gave you 3 values which are nothing but first name, last name, and gender. Okay, first name, last name, and gender. But how can I get this? How can I get these things? Because of this identity property. Because of this identity property, you got these 3 values 1, 2, 3. Because here I set 1 comma 1, so it start with 1, increment by 1. Okay, so that is the importance of identity property. Okay, let's just go with some examples. Okay, so now I'm just deleting the first record, okay, because I want to show you some examples on it. So I just want to first record, so delete the first record. So delete from table where first name is John. Okay, I successfully deleted it. Okay, Control E, see, 2 3 I have. Okay, let's insert the person ID as well. Okay, so just insert the person ID and let's see what will happens. Okay, insert into the table name. I want to insert now the entire four columns: person ID, first name, last name, and gender with the values. Okay, okay, Control E. Oh, I got this error. What is this error? Cannot insert explicit value for identity column in a table person when identity insert is set to off, which means here you already mentioned identity as a property to this person underscore ID, which means it will automatically, it will not take your manual permission to increase the number, but it will automatically do the same. Okay, but what we are doing here is you're entering person ID manually as 1. So that is the reason why it is telling you, hey, you cannot insert person underscore ID because which is already tagged with identity property. So even though if you want it, then what you have to do is you need to set this identity insert person is on. Okay, by default this property is off, which is the one the statement tells you. Let's check out once again. See, when identity underscore insert is set to off, so by default it is set to off. That is the reason why it will not accept your insert on that identity column. So you need to make it on. For this, you just set this identity underscore insert property on person table is make to on. Let's on it. Okay, it's on now, and now you can insert. Okay, this same statement, I just copied this statement and pasted it here, and I'm just executing the command. Control E, yeah, one row affected. Control R. Let's check out. Okay, let's check out that one. Control E. See, I again got my previous record: 1 John Miller and M. Okay, so here's the catch. So we already set it to on. Now just put that back into off. Okay, so if you put it to off, then nobody cannot insert the person ID because which is already have an identity property. So just go for the default setting as well. Set identity underscore insert on the person table is going to off. Okay, now it is off. Okay, so now we have a few properties with this identity function. So as of now you see what is an identity function and how to put an identity to a particular column, and how to insert insertions into the particular identity column as well, and what are the things you need to do before going to insert into particular identity column, and how to set it back to off as well. Okay, now we can see what are the different kind of functions which are associated with this identity property as well. Okay, the first function is select identity from person. Okay, now I just want to insert one more record into it. Just insert, Control E, Control R. Now just execute. Select star from the table name person. Select star from table name, Control E. See, I have one more record, which is the fourth record. Okay. Now, what are these functions? In SQL, it is @identity function and scope underscore identity function, ident underscore current, and identity function. Okay, what it will do, let's see one by one. Okay, so what it will do, select @identity from person. So what it will do is, this identity returns the maximum identity value which is generated in this session. If you execute this command for that particular person table, what is the maximum identity which is already generated, which is 4. Okay, because we already inserted this record, the cat, piece, and female. We inserted this record, and if you observe here, I'll just execute these two statements together. See, what is the maximum inserted record? What is the maximum identity here? 4. See, that is the record it is showing me here. Okay, so, or even though if you execute this one as well, it will show you the same. Okay, in this particular session, what is the meaning of session? This particular query window is one session. It is called as one session. Okay, in this session, what is the maximum identity value which I generated? The maximum identity value which I generated is 4, which is the one it is showing me. 4 is the maximum identity property number. Okay, so of course the same thing with carries with the scope identity as well. Of course, we can use scope identity function also to return the last identity value under this current scope. If you can check here, it is also showing you the same 4. Okay, the different variations. Okay, same with the same thing. So select ident current person as current identity value. What is the current identity? Here you have to give ident underscore current in which table you want to go through, check for the identity property. Here in my case, the person is a table. Okay, so Control Enter, it is showing me current identity value by 4. Okay, so with this, as of now, you have learned how to create this identity property and how to insert records into the table when identity property is on into that particular column, and what are the necessary things to do that, how to on it and how to off the identity insert function, and how to check whether what is the maximum identity number which is present in that particular session or in that particular table by following these functions: @identity and scope identity and ident current and identity function as well. Okay, so hope you guys understand this part of video course, and don't worry about to change these things. Okay, you have to make your hands dirty while practicing all those stuff. Okay, so you just change these numbers. It will not make you any crazy things, but it will definitely give you some mind-provoking things. Okay, you can set any kind of values over here. Identity, seed, and increment. You need to set seed to suppose 2 and with an increment of 5. Then what will happen? It starts with the number 2 and next number added to 5, increment by 5. Okay, if you want to go for do some kind of practice, it is always advisable. And from my side, I would like to just give you a suggestion for this, just to go through this course, but you need to practice a lot with your own examples. Of course, you can Google it for the reference documents and all, and you can practice a lot, because here my duty is to give you the basic understanding and basic idea of how to do the stuff with the SQL, but you need to practice a lot, because I'm very happy if you go through the practicing with my along with me while pausing the videos and at the same time with me. it is very helpful for you. But even though, once you watch the entire video, and you can open your SSMS Studio, and you need to practice a lot, then you can understand, you can able to understand. Because if you watch these videos and just close it off, and if you go for another one, it will not create any impact on you. Okay, so hope you understand this class, and don't worry about the scripts. I will give this script, and as I promised you that I will provide this SQL questions document as well in the description down below. You can catch up those documents as well. And that's it, guys, from today's session. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my channel, and have a good day.